Hello viewers, welcome again to Discovering Truth, and I am Pastor Forbes from Abiding with Ministries, the gateway here in the Gambia. You will remember last week as I did the postscript and ended the series which became 5 parts on a different spirit, attitudinal change. I promised us that I'll be starting a brand new series, and I want to start it today by the grace of God. I know this is Valentine's season. I know we are also approaching Independence Day, and usually February has its own excitement for us. So I want to start a series that is entitled Wholeness. 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 Wholeness or completeness. When something is a whole, it's not in bits, it's not broken, it's not in parts. So I want to give a few descriptions, alternative words, and definitions that will capture the entire series, because it's going to be broken down into about 4, 5, or even 6 parts. Because what I want to be looking at is the totality of our life from before conception, the expectation of a couple, conception, the journey into birth, growth, grooming, development, fostership, guardianship, oversight, and then into certain key, particular family-oriented societal values in upbringing and growing. Then we'll want to explore the discovery and beginning to feel a sense of purpose for your life, for my life, and then we'll move into developing our life in the pathway of our purpose. After that, we'll be looking at how to envision and set a goal, and how to train and acquire the requisite skill sets so that these goals dovetail into the vision and purpose for our lives. And then the logical consequence after that will be that we settle down. You and I choose to settle down into the business of living, of doing life, or engaging life as it happens. And that will include things like community service, contributions to national development, leaving your footprints on the sands of time, and a possible next generation legacy consideration. And finally, we bow because we have played our part on this life, but life continues. Now, inside that also, it would mean that we'll touch on friendships, we'll touch on attractions, the laws of attractions, we will touch on companionships, we will definitely touch on love and marriage. And these 5 areas, friendships, attractions, companionships, love, and marriage, they all, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, and as I know, they all have challenges. So we'll be able to look at them and their challenges, again, undergirded by wholeness, completeness. And then we will look at what are some of the challenges, external challenges, internal self-inflicted challenges, issues of omission or commission, issues that happen inadvertently or deliberately, the laws of cause and consequence, actions and reactions. We look at value systems, we look at transitions and seasons in life, etc., etc. So this series, I'm excited, I've been preparing for it, and it's just a discussion. Remember, Discovering Truth is coming to you just so that you look back at what you think is life and juxtapose your present reality into what could be the right thing for your vision, and make the necessary alignments, realignments, and adjustments until you get there. So what does it mean to be whole? What is wholeness? As I started, wholeness is completeness. Wholeness means nothing missing. There are many definitions here. I have an explanations. One of them means something that's free of a wound or an injury, it's unhurt. When something is unhurt, it is whole. When someone is unhurt, free of a wound or an injury, they are said to be unhurt. So wholeness is being unhurt. When somebody has recovered from a wound or injury, they are restored to wholeness. So wholeness is also restoration. Wholeness is being unhurt. Hopefully nothing goes on. But wholeness also has a redemptive purpose in it, that if after the injury, treatment, restoration, recovery take place, then you come back to wholeness. So wholeness is also being healed. Wholeness is being free of a defect or an impairment. So wholeness is being intact, unhurt, restored, healed, complete. Wholeness is also sometimes physical, sound, and sound health. Being physically sound and healthy, we say you are whole, free of disease, of deformity. Mentally and emotionally sound is wholeness. You are together. Wholeness is synergy. Everything is working together. You are synergized or you are integrated. Wholeness is like figure one. It's an integer. You are integrated. You are whole. You are not half. You are not fractionated. You are not in a ratio. You are one. Wholeness is also when you have all the proper parts and the components together. So it's completeness, as I said. Wholeness is being unmodified. It is as it came. You know, when you want to do a modification, it means you are changing, you are embellishing, you are adjusting. But wholeness means completeness, unmodified. It is when something constitutes the total sum of an entity. It is undiminished. It's entire. So wholeness is completeness, it's being unhurt, it's being restored, it's being intact, it's being physically and emotionally sound, it's being complete, it's being unmodified, it's being entire. So if you go to the stores or the supermarkets here in the Gambia or anywhere in the world, sometimes when you want to buy whole milk, liquid milk in a carton or in a jar, the French word that you see there is entier, E-N-T-I-E-R. It's entire, it's whole, it's together. So sometimes you hear a phrase that the whole family came together. That means everybody that makes up that family was there. Or, let's say Gina Bass, a star Gambian athlete. Gina Bass took part in the whole series of athletic events. It means each and every one of those ones she took part. Nothing was left, because if anything is left, then it is not whole. Or a rich Greek tycoon, he owns the entire island. So it's wholeness. When something is whole, it constitutes an undivided unit. So another word is that wholeness is something that is unbroken, undivided, uncut. So you want to buy the whole grilled fish, the whole roasted chicken, you know that it's the entire thing. When something is whole, it means it is concentrated fully in one place. You say, ladies and gentlemen, I need your whole attention. Let me have your whole attention or your full attention. It means all your powers. Just don't sit here and your mind is in Tabukoto, but you're here, body, soul, mind, spirit. So it's completion. It's totality. Everything is together. It's the complete sum that is being whole. And that is what we want to use as the substrate, the base, the foundation of this discussion. Because when we go into areas of friendship, even profession, career, vocation, you might want to say calling, desire, goals, objectives, when we go into attractions, when we go into companionships, when we come into love, marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, if we, you and I, are unwhole. And let me go through what that means. We're hurting people, wounded people, defective, not intact, unfortunately mentally and emotionally unstable, incomplete, modified, airbrushed, if we are not entier, if we are not entire, if we are broken, beaten down. It's not rocket science to know that the challenge itself will be major. So I'm sure you're saying that, Pastor Forbes, are you by any chance saying that everybody that comes into any kind of relationship must be perfect? I am not saying that. I'm saying wholeness must be something we must aspire to, because it is possible. You can have original wholeness and you can have restored wholeness from a redemptive purpose. The continuum between them is my personal desire, your personal desire, my humility, my agreeability to either being wrong, knowing that I'm finite, that I do not know everything, I missed it here, I blew it there, I was wrong, I played the blame game, I played the victim mentality, everybody else is wrong and I am right. Those kinds of issues. Or I am deeply in need of affirmation. I crave people to affirm me. And when we have those kinds of imbalances and instabilities, then there are going to be major issues that we have to deal with. And that is why when it comes to even the institution of marriage and matrimony and the union, you discover that people tell you that it is best practice, it is wise practice, that before you get married, you go through a period of premarital counseling. In other words, you go through a structure, a formal structure. Again, that structure depends upon your truthfulness, your trustworthiness, and your understanding of the fact that you are entering something that is a long journey. It has unexplainables, it has unexpectables, it has transitions, it has its own seasons, it has attacks that you didn't see coming, but yet if you are positioned properly with understanding and conviction, then it will happen. Because the power of the human will is very strong. The power of the self, a strong-willed person, a strong-minded person, is something, as is a weak-minded or weak-willed person. And so the best thing for everything, if I am a disturbed person, I am a hurt man, I am a dissatisfied man, and let me extend it to maybe envious, jealous, and vindictive, and wicked, and scheming, and suspicious, and undermining, and always trying to second guess people. You can imagine I am traumatized in myself. And whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, whether I'm trying to attract somebody, marry somebody, love somebody, stay with them, start a business, get an associate, sign a contract that you and I are co-partners, I am coming with a baggage of unwholeness. And that baggage, not handled well, will cause a lot of problems. And at every level, ladies and gentlemen. So some issues you see showing up in older life, in middle age, in the first 2, 3, 4 years of marriage, they are not issues that necessarily happen because you started the business together and you started the relationship together. No, it is just who you are that will always come out. So we must seek wholeness. We all must seek wholeness, and I strongly believe that the only way we come into wholeness is when we submit our lives, our wills, our plans, and everything to the foreknowledge of God Almighty, who created us and who knows us more than we know ourselves. And then also we look for godly, I underline, godly, non-biased counsel, not societal counsel, pigmentation counsel, geopolitical counsel, tribal counsel. No, no, no. True, neutral, godly counsel. I remember some years ago in a West African country, two people fell in love. They really loved each other many years ago, and both of them had a congenital blood disease. And it was evident that that marriage would not last long because one of them would predecease the other, and eventually the other would also pass on just by the genetics of that disease and illness. And any offspring that they birthed had an almost 100% genetic chance of becoming like them. And counsel came to them, advice came to them, but you know, love, in fact, the Bible says love is as strong as death. You know, it was difficult to reason with them, to bring knowledge to them. And yes, there, in every scenario, you have the right to stand your ground on your conviction, as long as you are taking that conviction all the way through. If not, then you take assistance that can help. Needless to say, things turned out the way they shouldn't have turned out. So it means that you and I must seek wholeness in everything. Because I have a master's degree doesn't mean that my character is good. Because I smile and I'm a beautiful woman does not mean that I'm ethically straight. Because I travel the world does not mean that I am financially sound. Because I have many friends doesn't mean that I am really dependable and my mouth keeps itself shut into other people's business. And these are all little signals of areas of assistance in wholeness. Because once those areas show up and we can't handle them, friendships, relationships, attractions, love, experiments, marriages, businesses, companies go south. And we don't need to look very far. We have been fed globally in the last year that very high up in the financial ladder, where you and I would feel we'll have no more worries in the world when we become billionaires, not millionaires, billionaires. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, billionaires think millionaires are just small boys and girls playing around. And we hail millionaires, but the people with the B look at them and feel that you got to climb up and meet us, because what we can do, you cannot do. And so sometimes you feel that because the billions are there, they translate into wholeness. And alas, we saw last year, and I'm sure that's not the last of it, as long as there is human frailty and brokenness and hurt and lack of coming into restoration and even agreeing that I have been traumatized and I need counseling and I need help and I need steps to show me how to go, because I may have been this path before and I made the same mistakes. And ladies and gentlemen, we are taught that the same methods will give you the same results. And if you use the same methods and expect different results, then it shows how broken, incomplete we are. The joy of this all is that even if you subject yourself to personality test assessment and some of these things that go around the world, sometimes they help you. And that's why you find that maybe an extrovert likes to fall in love with an introvert. Very strange thing. Somebody who is outgoing likes to settle with somebody who is quiet. Because two outgoing people, you wonder who listens to who when they talk. And so that complementarity is what helps to close the unwholeness gap and further reinforce it for good things to happen. So this is going to be my introduction. We're going to stop here and by the grace of God, continue and start breaking it down for 4 or 5 parts. Remember, we'll look at the issues that can cause wholeness to happen, the things that can break wholeness, and how we can come into restored wholeness before we now start looking at deploying our gifts, our talents, required skill sets to become what we want to become, so we don't self-destruct and then bringing people on board, friends, business partners, love relationships, family unions, and legacy at the end of the day. Let me stop here, and until I come your way next week, by the grace of God, have a good day, and let's start working. Maybe you can ask yourself, do the assignment. What are the areas that I'm not completing? What are my weak areas? Where are the areas that I know I feel vulnerable? And that will be a very good point to start, so that as we go through, we can see how we help each other. God bless us all.